Om Om Sadashiva-samārambhāṃ Śaṅkarācārya-madhyamāṃ Asmadācārya-paryantāṃ Vande Guru-paraṁparāṃ Gurur-brahma Gurur-vishnu Gurur-devo Maheshwarah Guru-sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri-gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviriyam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sriharim Paramanandam Upadeshtaram Ishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham. As we have been discussing this Aparokshanubhuti. So what does it mean? That Aparoksha Brahma. So the Brahma, what happened? Is Aparoksha, is not directly perceived, not indirectly, because it is a mean. So this Aparokshasya Anubhuti, Aparoksha Anubhuti or Aparoksha Brahmanaha Anubhuti. And finally we came at this word Aparokshanubhuti eva moksha. Not experiencing Brahman, okay? Don't translate. So Anubhuti means experience. So experiencing Brahman is called moksha. So don't translate that way. If you do translate, then whole teaching is in other way around. So the understanding of Brahman, the knowledge of Brahman, and this jnanam, that is called aparoksha. That is not paroksha, because experience is related to paroksha, indirect. And that knowledge itself is moksha, is freedom. When we looked at this text very carefully from the beginning till now, Ādi Śaṅkarācārya's first target is whom? Who are our Purva-pakshi? So Prathama Purva-pakshi, who are they? They are called Shunyavadin. So Shunyavadin means those who believe that this universe came to existence from nothing. So in short, Buddhist. So let us not get into in details. So they are our first Purva Pakshi, means always they are to be targeted, they are to be what? Addressed carefully. So you may say nowadays we don't need that, especially in India, there is no Buddhism, so these are not required. Who says? Because we discussed what is Buddhism. It is called non-committed lifestyle. So I want to be a spiritual without being committed to anything, anybody. So present generation are more predominant, or thinking is related to this. They want to have best of everything, doing nothing. So that's why you can see, especially in Western countries, Buddhism is now started spreading. And in India also, Buddhism started spreading based on the political benefits. So that you know better. So looking at all these angles, because please remember, we don't have to waste much time with this sort of people. Why? Because we have been watching, like earlier in 23, 24 verses, also verse number 23, 24, all these things. Ādi Śaṅkarācārya brought up Simple logic. Because first we think of yukti. If a person has common sense, we'll start thinking. That's why we bring common logic. In fact, we are going through this verse number, let us say, from verse number from 31 onwards till 37. So this is completely first based on few things. He brought yukti, then he's bringing shruti. Now already we are in the shruti section. Shruti means Veda. So what I am highlighting here is, first comes yukti. Yukti means basic logic. Why I am using this word basic logic? If my mind is clouded, if my mind is perverted, now what will happen? All my logic will support my perverted thinking. Does it happen or not? I'll give you a beautiful example without getting into conflict. Suppose my mind is nowadays, in zero figure. So because of zero figure, too much health consciousness. Now what happens? Whenever I will go to the shopping mall, I don't want to take gluten. So gluten free, you understand? Because if I take gluten, I'll become fat. Then I'll have all sort of logic to establish, to prove that gluten is not healthy for my body. And of course, later on they will say not mind also, as though they are the psychologist. See, can you see how the logic supports my thinking? So that is what we call as perverted thinking, means the person is lacking common sense. That's why anybody and everybody can have or can lose common sense. Instead of can lose common sense. Especially when mind is crowded. Because once mind is crowded, how long will it take to get clouded? It will not take much time. Once crowded, it becomes clouded. And once there is cloud, then what happens? We have seen many times in many occasions. Raga brings what? Śloka. Śloka brings what? Moha. Raga means attachment. Śloka means sorrow. Moha means delusion. Clear? So wherever there is ragam, includes dvesham, okay? Don't worry, don't say only ragam. Dvesham means hatred. So wherever there is ragam, there is dvesham. So wherever both are there, Ślokam has to come. Nobody can stop it. Sorrow has to come. Once sorrow comes, don't worry, grandchild will come, okay? So who is the grandchild? So grandchild is moha, because they come all the families together, okay? They don't come alone, okay? So when this moham comes, delusion comes, mind is already clouded. So this can happen to anybody at any moment. But if the person is a Vaidik, if the person is an astika, this is the most important point to highlight here. So astika means not theist. Don't translate atheist and theist, astika and astika is wrong translation completely. So astika means the one who believes that Veda as pramana. Because they think, atheist, theist, those who believe in God and those who do not believe in God. So this is called, astika and astika. This is wrong translation. However, so here we do talk about astika people. That those who believe Veda as a pramana, those who accept Veda as a pramana. So whenever we say something logically and the person starts deputing, the person starts negating, does not accept it because of delusion or because of clouded thinking or crowded thinking, to that person we bring the Shruti, Veda as a pramana. Clear? So the moment Veda pramana is being quoted, the scriptures are being quoted, the person keeps quiet. Whereas if you talk to Buddhist people or present day generation, what is scripture? This is the hallucination of some few people. This is somebody told me, okay? This is the hallucination of some people. I said, okay, thank you very much. That's why we say, never ever waste time with those people. It is like you argue with a blind person that, hey, look, the color of the specs is black. What do you say? Hey, this everything is black. What are you talking? Only color of the specs is black. In fact, you also are black. Because that person's eye is called means of knowledge, which supposed to work in the field of color and form, is not present. So also, the Veda is a means of knowledge related to what? Related to life after death. And related to the nature of the self. So that is the only exclusive field. And when the person doesn't accept, then what can you say? That means that person doesn't have this means of knowledge at his or her disposal. So when this means of knowledge itself is not at the disposal of the concerned person, why to waste time? Clear? So looking at that, Ādi Śaṅkarācārya, that's why this is what we do. The moment scripture says so, the teaching says so, teacher says so, we keep quiet. And this works. This is called astika buddhi. And because of this reason, now let us look at the verse so that it becomes a little easier. Verse number, you said 35. Am I right? Okay. Sarvaṃ puruṣa eveti. Sūkte puruṣasaṃjñite. Apyucyate yataḥ śrutyā. Kathaṃ syāddehakaḥ pumān. Before, Ādi Śaṅkarācārya had quoted different Upanishads where he highlighted, like verse number, previous verse he had quoted from Śvetā Upanishad. And here that yasmat nāpara asti kinchit naniyo, that verse goes. Now here he brings that very popular Upanishad and especially sūkta called Puruṣa-sūktam, part of Mahanarayana Upanishad. So generally many people, almost everybody knows this sūktam, because any Abhishekam or any puja, at least this is being chanted. So any ritual, at least somewhere or other, they will chant this thing. If there is a gap also to feel this thing, also they will keep chanting because everybody knows and very common, absolute no problem. And there is no issue with the Vaishnavites, Saivites, every people. Okay. So that goes very well. This is Puruṣa-sūktam. Okay. Om Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat goes on and on. Okay. So here in this Suktam, Sarvaṃ Purusha eva iti. So that means, says beautifully, that in this Mahanarayana Upanishad establishes that all this is very Puruṣaḥ. Because please understand the concept here. Puruṣaḥ and Prakriti. Or you can say here Puruṣaḥ and Deha, because we are discussing Deha all the time, the word cannot be interdependent. It has to be, in one has to be independent and other one has to be dependent. Don't bring this relationship, oh, both are them are interdependent. This is called Nyayikas. You know, this popular story of Nyayika logicians. So what is that? So very nice, this thing goes. You know, this is Puruṣaḥ, this says this story, and of course, this is a very common story. A musician, one astrologer, and one logician. Okay, very funny combination. So three of them thought of going for pilgrimage. Okay, let us explore. Okay, and those days there was nothing, so you have to carry something like some rice and other things, and then you have to cook because there was no restaurant and all these things, and it was not supposed to be. However, let me not get into cultural side. So it became evening. Now once it became evening, now what happened is, so this there was some some rice was there. Now this other two, the logician and the astrologer, said, look, you are a musician, you don't know, better you cook rice, so that meanwhile he can go and get some vegetable, the astrologer can go to get vegetable, and I will get some oil. Fantastic. So now let me explain one after another. Okay, so now let us start from with the musician. So musician had a earthen pot, searched and put the rice, then put the firewood, started boiling. So as it starts boiling, what happens? There is a rhythm. Okay, dum, 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 dum. So he was enjoying his ragam. Then while enjoying the ragam, he forgot to feed the fuel, the firewood. Then what happens? Rhythm goes down or not? Will change. And musician, when rhythm goes down, because in the holding the stick and he's doing like this, how? Then what happened? Why rhythm went wrong? So he hit the this earthen pot. God. Thinking what to do, what to do, what to do. Now let us go to what? Astrologer. Because we generally come other way around, but I thought of going differently. Okay. Let us go to astrologer. So astrologer was given in charge of getting vegetables. So he thought, look, we didn't have green vegetables, some kirai, some all these green things. Let us. So he bought some green vegetables. So while coming back on the road, he saw that a cow is giving birth to a calf. So interesting. Being astrologer, started calculating. So what is now nakshatra? So what would be the future of the calf? So while calculating everything, now by that time he discovered, because he had kept all his vegetables on the ground, and after delivering, cow was hungry, cow ate all the greens. Now he is holding his head, what to do now? And finally, comes to our favorite fellow, which is the topic today, logician. So logician went to get this oil. And those days, to get the oil, they have to get, this is donai. Donai means a cup made up of leaf. So the oil fellow will give oil in a leaf, on a leaf, let us say. Now he came to this logic called adhara adheya sambandha. This is interdependent, okay? This is the logic. Adhara adheya sambandha. So what is this relationship? Now, does this oil is being sustained by this cup, or the cup is sustained by the oil? So who is dependent? Maybe both are interdependent. You understand? This is the adhara adheya sambandha. Who is adharam, substance, and which is other one who is taking the help of it. Substratum, substratum. Now he starts talking all these things. Then he said, look, if this leaf is the adharam, substratum, that means without oil, the leaf cup should stay in my hand, but it does not look nice. Why? Because wind can take it away just like that. Because of the oil, the fellow is stable. Or else it will go out. Okay, that means what? If this is the case, definitely oil becomes adharam, substratum. How is it possible? That means oil by itself should stand. If it is substratum, oil by itself should stand. Maybe now what he did, so he tilted his hand to understand whether oil is standing by itself or not. Then what happens? Oil goes. And this is the life of these three. Okay? Because I am supposed to start from oil fellow, then comes to astrologer, and finally when they came back, they thought, at least to have some rice. But when they came back, they saw musician also has done his job. Okay? So all the three disaster. So coming back here, when we see this basic logic that is clouded, that is not working, so we bring this Veda, and here is a popular one called Puruṣa-sūktam. Earlier we have seen other bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad also. Will be seeing different śruti vakyas. Once śruti vakya comes in, is being quoted, now the person accepts gracefully. So here he says, look, in this Puruṣa-sūktam, the Puruṣam that is being described there, that which is everything is consciousness, the adharam of everything. And it is not a product. We have discussed in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita in details. So let me not get into that at all. So Puruṣottama Yoga, okay, there we have discussed in details. So here is being discussed that Puruṣaḥ, how can be this body? So apyucyate yataḥ śrutyā kathaṃ syāddehakaḥ pumān iti. So how can we call this body that is visible, and that this body is that Puruṣaḥ, which is being described as everything? So that means the body is not consciousness, in short. Continuing. asaṃgaḥ puruṣaḥ prokto bṛhadāraṇyake pica anantamalasaṃśliṣṭaḥ kathaṃ syāddehakaḥ pumān. Says, look, I am not going to keep quiet. Let me also quote from bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad. So when we look at this bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad, here he says, look, there is being said, puruṣaḥ asaṃgaḥ iti. So that means if puruṣaḥ is asaṃgaḥ, means unattached. Now, same puruṣaḥ, how can be called as this body? Because in especially bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad, there are two verses goes where it is being said that Brahman is svayaṃjyotirhi. This concept is there talked in details. Let me not divert because it is another big topic. So being svayaṃjyotirhi, that means it does not need anything, self-evident. And definitely that puruṣaḥ, that Ātman cannot be body. In fact, because of which all this thing happens. That's why we have to be very careful, being asaṃgaḥ, unattached. That means it is not a product of or part of body. So because this consciousness or a puruṣa is not a part, it is not property, nor it is a product. And that's why being asaṃgaḥ, it is independent entity. And being independent entity, that means what? It is beyond namas and rupas, beyond name and forms. That's why this is being taught that this Ātman in bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad, this puruṣaḥ is asaṃgaḥ, is śrutyā, pure iti. Let us continue, nothing much to talk. Okay. anantamalasaṃśliṣṭaḥ. So here it means what? That is śrutyā ityarthaḥ. Now continuing. tatraiva samākhyātaḥ soyam. So tatraiva cha samākhyātaḥ. svayaṃjyotirhi pūruṣaḥ. jaḍaḥ paraprakāśyoyam. kathaṃ syāddehakaḥ pumān. Says, look, again in same bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad, it goes on and on. Okay, tatraiva cha, they are again means in this same Upanishad called bṛhadāraṇyake Upanishad. puruṣaḥ svayaṃjyotirhi samākhyātaḥ is clearly stated that ayam jaḍaḥ, whereas this body is jaḍa, inert, paraprakāśyo, illuminated by this external agent. So when one is bhati, other one is anubhati. So one is self-evident, other one is visible or evident by others' light. How can both are one and same? It's like for a common person, sun gives light, moon also gives light. That's why there is a religion. So they went against the sun. So they thought, why not? Let us take the moon as everything. You understand? So if other religion is doing everything facing towards east, let us do everything facing towards west. If other religion does the fasting and everything in the daytime, so now let us do everything in the night time. Or sorry, other way around, okay? Eat in the night time, okay? Actually, we should tell them, hey, look, do one thing. You should work in the night time and sleep in the daytime. Then you are perfectly following your religion. Because one fellow, if their leader says that, they may do that. Okay, don't worry. However, let us not get into religious things. So, what is highlighting here is that with this chapter is going, this concept is getting over. So here he says, look, the body is jaḍa, inert. And this Ātman, that is conscious, in whose presence the Shariram functions. How can this body becomes consciousness? That means this body is there with me. It will go away. That's why in everywhere, every language, every religion, we say this point. What when the person passes away? What I say? My father, death. Death means what? My father passed away. My father has left us. That's why recently what I wrote very clearly what? So this, left, falling of the body, left the body. So when we write this or we say this, what does it mean? Any religion makes no difference. So we say very carefully, the person has left us. The person has passed away. Thank God he did not fail, okay? At least one time in his life he has passed, okay? Remember this, okay? Whenever you write passed away, just I imagine this fellow was a failure whole life, okay? Especially being a man, if you ask that man, especially ask the wife, okay, that if this fellow is a permanent failure, okay? Only one time in life he is getting passed. However, this is my joke, okay? Don't take it seriously. However, here, whether it is passed away, left, and he is no more with us, she is no more with us. These are the languages in English, and in different languages also we use differently. All this indicates very clearly that I am not body. I am different from body. That's why this rest in peace doesn't work. It's a wrong concept. Nobody should write this rest in peace. Because I myself says very clearly, including in Christianity, person has left us. So who is that person? Then how can, if he has left us, how can the body will be, in the body will be resting in the peace? This is a religious dogma. Let us not get into. So we have to be very clear that me is not body. So when I understand me is not body, body dharma is to go through certain things. Mano dharma, mind dharma, is supposed to go through certain things. Let it go through. I am witnessing, allowing to happen. If I can improve, let me. If I cannot, let me observe them as Sakshi Puruṣaḥ. Why? With this I'll stop it. Remember, in life, if we jump, we will fall down. If we are excited for anything, we will be also depressed. We say very nicely, if arrival of someone makes you happy, if arrival of something makes you happy, departure of the same person will make you unhappy. That's why whenever whatever comes, not that you are, completely, cold person, not necessarily. Let it come, let it go. I don't allow myself to jump. That's why life is a smooth journey, not boring, okay? For you, many people, when there is no activities, smoothness is called boring life, not like that. Oh, life should be full of enthusiasm. Remember, if you say life is full of enthusiasm, with that person, you cannot work. It's difficult. You can work from a distance, great, not in a close way. So life is not full of enthusiasm. Life is all about continuous growth, not fluctuation. More of it we'll see. Om Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, all of you.